This is the new Mercedes-Benz CLA. If you think it looks very similar to the model it replaces, you are right. However, this is the CLA 250 Plus with EQ technology, a fancy way of saying it's electrified, and in this case it's even fully electric. It features a lot of tech which current Mercedes EV lineup lacks, and it improves on some of the stuff we've already seen. Is this the EV you finally want without an asterisk? 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 The little goal. Anyway, let's find out.
Come on, come here, come a little closer. Don't be afraid, no, I don't wanna hurt you. Little more, come near, let me just show you. Don't know, can't talk, let me just show you. Don't be obsessive, it could be intensive, it could be explosive, it could be offensive. Don't be defensive, don't be aggressive, it will be a waste cause we could be expensive. You need a little fee in your life, you need a little me in your life. I wanna see the sea in your eyes, you need to be free.
Move, move, body, move.
The new Mercedes-Benz CLA is indeed very similar to its predecessor. It's literally 2-3 centimeters longer and wider. The wheelbase has been extended by 6 centimeters. And the new CLA is 3 centimeters taller than the model it replaces, thanks to the traction battery being located in the floor. More on that in a moment. After the enthusiastic reception of the design language of earlier electric models, Mercedes decided that all its cars should now look relatively standard and relatively similar. New models feature slightly bolder headlights and tail lamps with a star motif, but the radiator grille is less conspicuous.
Do you recall those little chrome dots on grills in earlier Mercedes models? And recently the E-Class had these little chrome stars. Here they've been replaced with 142 illuminated LED stars. From a distance you can tell it's a Mercedes. Up close, it's not too flashy. I like it.
Aerodynamics have also been improved and the drag coefficient is now just 0.21. Besides the streamlined front end, the retractable door handles help, and they finally work here. I remember that in earlier Mercedes models, especially the EQS and EQE, the sensor on the retractable door handles had some sort of delay. This meant I'd tug on them because since nothing happened, it was just a reflex. Here, they finally work properly.
I have 3 pieces of good news. First, Mercedes has decided that every new model will now be in both electric and electrified versions. This means we'll soon see the CLA with a mild hybrid combustion engine. Second, the A-Class in its current form will be available until 2028. Production was supposed to cease in 2026, but there is no point axing a model that's still in demand. And third, the electric Mercedes-Benz cars finally have a frunk, so you don't have to wonder what to do with your dirty charging cable.
The frunk floor is at a slope. Mercedes claims a capacity of 101 liters, but this isn't a VDA figure. The frunk is approximately 25 centimeters deep, approximately 45 centimeters long, and approximately 75 centimeters wide, so that's more or less 85 liters, roughly the size of a carry-on suitcase. The boot capacity has decreased compared to the previous generation, now standing at 405 liters. It measures approximately 100 centimeters long, approximately 90 centimeters wide at its narrowest point, and approximately 46 centimeters high. Just behind the still too high sill, there is a small compartment under the floor for a repair kit and other small items.
Inside things get interesting. Mercedes has published a table comparing dimensions between the old and the new generation, and it seems that there is about 1-2 centimeters less hip and shoulder room here and 7 millimeters less legroom despite 6 centimeters longer wheelbase. However, there is almost 3 centimeters more headroom. Now this is strange since the traction battery is in the floor. Does anyone have any ideas what's going on? I have a suspicion, but I'll tell you about it when I get to the front.
Meanwhile, the legroom is fine. Headroom, even more so. There are door pockets big enough for my water bottle. The floor in the middle is flat. There are air vents and USB-C ports. The backrest splits 40-20-40. There's an armrest with cup holders and behind it, a pass-through to the boot. Isofix anchor points are only on rear side seats.
In theory, I should have 15 millimeters more headroom than in the previous generation, but I feel like my head is scraping against the roof. What's the deal? This is how I see it. The CLA has a standard panoramic glass roof. I'm assuming headroom is measured to the glass and not to the parts which are closest to my head. The seat can't be dropped lower, so my head may be closer to the roof than in the old generation, but further from the panoramic glass roof in the new generation.
A side effect, beside the feeling that I'm about to bang my head on the roof, is that I constantly see the orange passenger airbag warning light in the corner of my eye. The light stays on constantly and only the message changes to indicate that the airbag is either active when someone sits in the passenger seat or not when the seat is empty. To the best of my knowledge, the CLA recognizes when a rear-facing car seat is installed in the front seat and deactivates the passenger airbag. From the description, I don't really trust this solution and I would prefer a physical switch. Perhaps then I wouldn't have that orange light constantly in my eye.
Other than that, the driving position is good. The seats are comfortable, but the seat memory settings are on the screen. Recently, while reviewing a Chinese car, I ranted about burying seat settings somewhere on the screen because it's a bad idea. So imagine you have two drivers of significantly different height and they share one car. The taller driver will always have trouble squeezing into the seat and to reach the screen to adjust the seating position. I assume the problem is partially solved when you have two separate profiles assigned to separate keys, which can even be your phones, but in my opinion, this is an unnecessary complication of a solution that's memory buttons 1, 2, 3 on the doors or on the seat. Why complicate it?
Speaking of buttons, Mercedes also got rid of two rear window switches. Instead, it took the approach that Volkswagen is abandoning after a few years: buttons for right and left side and an additional button to activate the right or left side but in the rear. I suspect that, like BMW, also Mercedes analyzed data from hundreds of thousands of cars on the road and concluded that they could save a few cents here and a few centimeters there by getting rid of these two rear window switches, which few people use. Just because I'm not using something often doesn't mean I don't want it, and a premium brand should understand that. Other things that perhaps few people used. Mercedes trimmed down the infotainment system interface. It's closer to the iPhone than to Mercedes. I'm sure very few people changed the virtual cockpit skins, but I always thought it was a nice feature. The center display looks suspiciously small, and that's because above it sits a camera that monitors the driver's attention level and recognizes their face. You can link it to a profile and the seat will adjust itself, but first you have to get in behind the wheel. An optional third display is also available on the passenger side. This really isn't necessary, but I'm sure it makes more money for Mercedes. I guess the passenger will be playing games and streaming videos because the driver can't, because, they're driving. The simplified interface has one advantage: a home button and several recently used app buttons. While the windshield defroster is on a panel with a couple of buttons below the display, the rear window defroster is in the climate control sub-menu and you have to click through to get to it.
Mercedes boasts it now offers OTA updates which will help users enjoy their cars longer. The virtual assistant is now all AI and can solve problems that reveal your lack of personality. The press release literally gives an example of asking the virtual assistant what's interesting in the area because you're going on a date. If this isn't a red flag, I don't know what is. I mainly use the virtual assistant to find out that this car isn't equipped with things like heated steering wheel or maybe a system to darken this panoramic sunroof.
Another feature this car didn't come with pre-configured is Android Auto. Apparently, at a later date, it will be possible to download it from the App Store. Meanwhile, I have to rely on Mercedes' navigation, which is based on Google Maps, but it's not Google Maps. It's nice to see where the charging stations are and information about parking capacity, but I would prefer information about alternative routes or police along my route. The door pockets are spacious, there are cup holders on the center console, and a very good wireless charger. Below the console is a shelf and 2 USB-C ports. The storage compartment under the armrest is small, the glove box is also tiny. If you're looking for a start button, there isn't any. You get in with a key, press the brake, and select reverse or drive.
I'll start with the drivetrain parameters. Initially, the CLA is offered in two versions, the rear-wheel drive 250 Plus and the 350 4MATIC all-wheel drive. Both are equipped with NMC traction batteries with net capacity of 85 kWh. A model with an LFP battery with net capacity of 58 kWh will follow.
The batteries are more efficient than in the previous generations of Mercedes electric models and require fewer resources. The batteries consist of 4 cell modules. The modules are compact and flat, and the energy density is 20% higher than in earlier versions. There is also a standard heat pump, which further increases efficiency. The Mercedes-Benz CLA 250 Plus with EQ technology, this is the model's full name, has a promised WLTP range of up to 792 kilometers, with energy consumption between 14.1 and 12.2 kWh per 100 kilometers. I suspect that in eco mode, with only city driving in good weather, this is achievable. In my non-scientific combined cycle, I achieved around 15 kWh per 100 kilometers, giving me a realistic range of 560 to maybe 600 kilometers. Even on the highway, the CLA consumed just over 15 kWh per 100 kilometers.
In addition to the aforementioned excellent aerodynamic properties, the electric CLA features a 2-speed transmission, just like the Porsche Taycan or the Mercedes-AMG C63 S Performance Hybrid. The gear ratios are 11:1 and 5:1. The shifting occurs depending on the driving scenario and speed. So, for example, during my speed test runs, I felt this shift shortly after exceeding 100 km per hour, probably around 110. Second gear allows for a top speed of 210 km per hour and full power delivery at higher speeds.
The claimed 0 to 100 km per hour time is 6.7 seconds. In sport mode, I achieved 6.3 seconds, and in comfort mode, it was 6.8 seconds. The outside temperature was around 10 degrees Celsius and the battery state of charge was around 70%. I mentioned this because, for example, in Cupra Born, full performance was only available at the right temperature and with the battery charge above 80%, which is practically never when the car is used properly. Speaking of charging, the electric CLA features an 800-volt architecture and can DC fast charge at up to 320 kilowatts. This means it can recoup up to about 300 kilometers of range in 10 minutes, under favorable conditions of course. 11 kilowatt AC charging is standard and there's a 22 kilowatt option. Vehicle to home and vehicle to grid will become available with a future software update.
And what's it like to drive the CLA 250 Plus with EQ technology? Honestly, I didn't expect much, but I'm pleasantly surprised. It took me a few dozen kilometers to get used to the CLA, but then I discovered that the car is rear-wheel drive, which is noticeable when taking sharp corners at speed. This means the front wheels only have to do the steering rather than simultaneously fight to propel the car. The steering is nicely tuned, offering more feedback than even some cars with conventional drivetrains. Overall, I feel like the CLA 250 Plus's 272 horsepower and 335 Nm of torque were set by a committee to save something for more powerful versions because the car feels like it's capable of much more. The perfectly tuned suspension allows for quick cornering without too much body roll. while getting you over bumps without any unpleasant noises or vibrations. It certainly helps that the AMG package selected for this car includes only 18-inch alloys and no one bothered to order larger ones. Sound. In electric cars, this is often a divisive issue. Some like it, some don't. I don't mind as long as it adds to the experience rather than annoy me. In case of the CLA 250 Plus, there is no artificial sound most of the time. Under hard acceleration, there is something like an engine purr, which is fine, but then there is also this kind of strange noise like worn brake pads when I'm braking, and this bit I don't like so much.
The soundproofing is very good. Visibility is decent, especially for a car with a sloping roofline. A 360 camera helps with maneuvering. The turning radius is over 5.5 meters, quite a lot. Furthermore, the reverse emergency braking system makes it difficult for me to reverse into my driveway. Adaptive cruise control with lane keeping assist works well though. There's also a lane change assist system, which is active on highways. I also suggest you turn on automatic regenerative braking. The car will begin slowing down not only when there is a slower vehicle in front of you, but also before intersections or tight bends. This is a good feature. Unfortunately, it needs to be reactivated every time you restart the vehicle. If you order the optional tow bar, the electric CLA can tow up to 1.8 tons. This is more than many Chinese combustion-engine cars available on the European market. Prices of the new electric Mercedes-Benz CLA start at €53,280. That's about €10,000 more than the previous generation ICE model. A new hybrid CLA will be launched at a later date. However, the outgoing CLA 250 4MATIC, which offers performance similar to that of the CLA 250 Plus I'm reviewing, starts at €56,300. So, the EV may not be so expensive after all. This test car with options costs €66,219.
Assuming you're considering a compact Mercedes and aren't interested in the base model, the electric CLA 250 Plus with EQ technology is no longer the compromise like previous generation electric cars were. After a few years of learning, Mercedes has finally learned its lesson, and either people will start buying new electric cars or we should end this experiment. And what do you think about the Mercedes-Benz CLA with EQ technology? Let me know in the comment section below.
If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.